As New Year's Eve approached in Mint Hill, North Carolina, the town was alive with anticipation. Streets glowed with holiday lights, and families prepared to ring in the new year together, cherishing the warmth and safety of their close-knit community. But beneath the surface of these joyful celebrations, a chilling plot was quietly unfolding, one that threatened to shatter the peace Mint Hill residents took for granted. Federal and local law enforcement agencies, working tirelessly behind the scenes, had uncovered a plan for a mass casualty attack. The plot, inspired by ISIS, targeted local businesses on one of the year's most joyous nights, when the community would be most vulnerable. The suspect, a young man who had grown up in Mint Hill, intended to turn familiar everyday places, a grocery store and a fast food restaurant, into scenes of terror and chaos. His plan was calculated to inflict maximum harm, targeting locations where families and friends gathered to celebrate. His goal was clear: to maximize fear and suffering within his own community, showing that the reach of global extremism could extend even to the most unsuspecting American towns. The plot was a stark reminder that no place is immune to the threat of radicalization and violence. Thanks to the vigilance, cooperation, and swift action of the FBI and local police, the attack was stopped before it could begin. Their dedication and teamwork not only saved lives, but also preserved the sense of security that defines Mint Hill. The story of Mint Hill is a stark reminder that the threat of terrorism can emerge from within, but it is also a powerful testament to the strength and resilience of a community, and to the unwavering commitment of law enforcement to protect it. At the center of the plot was Christian Sturdivant, an 18-year-old U.S. citizen from the Charlotte suburbs. On the surface, Sturdivant was an ordinary young man, working at Burger King, living with his grandfather, a Christian minister. But beneath this facade, he was allegedly radicalized online, planning violence against his own community. Sturdivant had been on the FBI's radar since age 14, showing a long-standing vulnerability to extremist ideologies. His case highlights the insidious reach of online radicalization, which can sever young people from family and community values. Sturdivant's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that homegrown terrorism can begin with isolation and digital propaganda. The young man serving burgers was, authorities say, preparing to attack the very people he saw every day. Sturdivant's plan was calculated for maximum carnage, targeting a grocery store, and Burger King expected to be packed on New Year's Eve. He conducted surveillance to find the busiest locations, aiming to injure as many as possible with knives and hammers. His handwritten notes revealed a desire to target Jews, Christians, and LGBTQ individuals, driven by hate and extremist ideology. The plan included a martyrdom op, intending to attack responding police and die in confrontation. Sturdivant had tactical gear ready, including a Kevlar vest, showing he was prepared for a violent end. This was not a fantasy, but a concrete blueprint for terror. The evidence showed a clear progression from radical belief to operational planning. Mint Hill was unknowingly in the crosshairs of a young man ready to unleash horror. The plot unraveled through a proactive investigation involving undercover agents who infiltrated Sturdivant's online world. The FBI discovered his pro-ISIS TikTok account, triggering an urgent investigation. Undercover agents, posing as ISIS members, gained his trust and gathered direct evidence of his plans. Sturdivant pledged allegiance to ISIS in a voice recording and shared explicit details of his intended attack. These digital conversations gave law enforcement insight into his mindset, targets, and timeline. The operation allowed agents to monitor his every move and gather the evidence needed to intervene. Collaboration between the FBI and NYPD was crucial, using online techniques to engage a lone wolf in his comfort zone. The digital sting prevented a real-world tragedy. The investigation became concrete when agents searched Sturdivant's home 2 days before the planned attack. Under his bed, they found 2 butcher knives and 2 hammers, the weapons he intended to use. Tactical gear, including a Kevlar vest and gloves, showed he was preparing for a violent confrontation. Most damning were his handwritten attack plans, detailing targets, motives, and casualty goals. The notes revealed his intent to harm Jews, Christians, and LGBTQ individuals, and to stab as much Taguti civilians as possible. The evidence proved he had moved beyond ideology to final-stage operational planning. Sturdivant was not just fantasizing, he was ready to act. The search left no doubt about the imminent danger he posed. With the attack imminent, law enforcement raced against time after the search of Sturdivant's home. An attempt to have him committed for psychological evaluation was denied, heightening the urgency. Agents maintained constant surveillance as New Year's Eve approached, knowing the risk to the community was extreme. On December 31st, as Mint Hill prepared to celebrate, authorities arrested Sturdivant as he left a medical facility. The arrest was swift and without incident, neutralizing the threat just hours before he intended to strike. U.S. Attorney Russ Ferguson stated, "He was preparing for jihad, and innocent people were going to die." The operation was the culmination of a rapid, intense investigation that began just 2 weeks earlier. Thanks to law enforcement, Mint Hill's New Year's celebration remained a time of joy, not tragedy. This was not Sturdivant's first brush with extremism. His journey into radicalization began shockingly early, setting off alarm bells for those around him. At just 14 years old, Sturdivant was discovered communicating online with an alleged ISIS member. The contact was not casual. He was actively encouraged to carry out a violent attack on a neighbor using a hammer, a chilling directive for someone so young. The internet, meant to connect and inform, had instead become a gateway to dangerous influences. Fortunately, his grandfather noticed troubling changes in his behavior and intervened just in time. By stepping in, he not only prevented a potential tragedy, but also offered Sturdivant a chance to change course. The family's quick action likely saved lives and highlighted the importance of vigilance at home. Because of his young age, authorities chose not to press charges. Instead, Sturdivant was referred to psychological care, and his access to social media was restricted. The hope was that therapy and distance from extremist content would help him recover and reintegrate safely into society. For several years, it appeared the intervention had worked. Sturdivant kept a low profile, and there were no outward signs of radical activity. But in 2025, his pro-ISIS TikTok account was discovered, revealing that the underlying ideology had never truly disappeared. Now 18, Sturdivant was no longer a vulnerable, manipulated teen. He had become an adult, fully capable of making his own decisions, and, tragically, of planning mass violence on his own terms. His case highlights the immense challenge of countering youth radicalization. Early intervention is vital, but as Sturdivant's story shows, it is not always enough. Ongoing support, monitoring, and community engagement are essential to prevent relapse. Extremist ideologies can lie dormant, resurfacing years later, even after periods of apparent calm. Families and communities must remain vigilant, recognizing that the path to recovery is rarely straightforward. Sturdivant's trajectory is a sobering reminder that the fight against radicalization is ongoing. Long-term support, compassion, and awareness are crucial to help at-risk individuals find a safer, healthier path forward. After his arrest, Sturdivant was swiftly processed into the federal justice system, where the seriousness of his alleged crimes became immediately apparent. The courthouse was surrounded by heightened security, with federal agents ensuring that every step of the process was handled with utmost caution. On January 2nd, he made his first appearance before a federal judge. The charges against him were grave, attempting to provide material support to ISIS, a terrorist organization. This single charge alone carries a potential sentence of up to 20 years in federal prison, underscoring the gravity of the situation. The evidence presented by prosecutors was extensive and damning. Investigators had gathered a trove of digital communications, intercepted messages, and even a recorded pledge of allegiance to ISIS. Detailed attack plans and a cache of weapons were also seized, painting a chilling picture of intent and preparation. Given the weight of the evidence and the potential threat to public safety, the judge denied Sturdivant's request for bond. He was ordered to remain in custody, deemed a significant danger to the community and a flight risk. The prosecution's case is built almost entirely on Sturdivant's own words and actions, leaving little room for doubt. His digital footprint, combined with physical evidence, forms a compelling narrative of intent to commit a violent act. The legal proceedings are designed to ensure that justice is served and that Sturdivant is held fully accountable for his conspiracy to commit mass murder. The court's role is to weigh the evidence impartially and deliver a verdict that reflects the severity of his actions. This case sends a powerful message to the public. Law enforcement agencies remain vigilant, and the justice system will act decisively and swiftly against anyone who plots acts of terror against innocent people. As the proceedings continue, the court will formally document the threat Sturdivant posed and, ultimately, deliver a sentence that reflects not only the severity of his crimes but also the need to protect society from future harm. Mint Hill's peaceful New Year's celebration was no accident. It was the result of proactive, coordinated law enforcement. The case shows why modern counterterrorism must focus on prevention, not just reaction. Seamless collaboration between the FBI, NYPD, and local agencies was key, combining online undercover work with on-the-ground surveillance. Public vigilance also plays a vital role. Sturdivant's grandfather once intervened, showing the power of community action. The fight against extremism is a shared responsibility. Law enforcement and the public together form the first line of defense. The Mint Hill case reassures us that, despite persistent threats, our systems to protect the public are effective. The true measure of success is not in headlines, but in tragedies averted. Thanks to vigilance and cooperation, Mint Hill welcomed the new year in peace.